The factors for the rise of for the growth of nationalism in India specifically. Up here we looked at the factors for the growth and rise of nationalism in or causes of nationalism in Asia, but specifically down here I want us to look at the factors for the growth of nationalism in India. The growth of nationalism in India was a complex process with multiple factors, many factors. But let us look at these following factors. So imperialism in nationalism in India grew because of the following factors. One, the British imperialism. The British colonization of India created a sense of unity among the Indians. The Indians began to see themselves as a single nation rather than separate kingdoms. And the Indians before, they used to be different. They used to differentiate themselves. Each group was doing its own thing. But when the British came and took over India, it opened the eyes and the minds of the Indians. The Indians got to know the importance of staying together. They got to know the importance of being nationalistic. So it made Indians to come together to stage a resistance towards the British rule. So because of the British colonial rule, it helped the Indians to come together. It actually, that mindset of being a single nation, it changed. And they realized that we need to work as a team. We have to be on the same table. So that nationalistic feeling developed among the Indians, and it opened their minds. At the end of the day, they staged resistances as Indians, known as specific groups. Still, the influence of Western civilization also promoted nationalism in India. The introduction of Western education and ideas such as liberalism and nationalism inspired the Indians to demand for independence and self-rule from the British. The Indians got the chance to read and to learn how to read and write. The Indians got the chance of learning the meaning of the word liberalism and nationalism. Yes, this opened them, and now they said, oh, this is the right time for us to demand for independence. We need to have self-rule. We need to be away from the British hands. We need to see our flag being hosted. Let us remove the flag of the British and we host ours. So it opened their minds. That is after the civilization and the introduction of Western culture. The spread of English. This is the language that was spoken by the British when they were in India. So the British wanted to make sure that all the Indians speak English. But this was like a force, but at the end of the day, the Indians benefited from it. The spread of English language facilitated the communication among the Indians from different regions and helped to create a sense of national unity. English united the Indians. At the end of the day, Indians were united by the language called English. Because they had differences, but when they made them to speak English, all of them could communicate. At the end of the day, it was easy for them to spread the information concerning nationalism. They got to know each other more and more, and they got to know what they're supposed to do. Development of transport and means of communication also favored the growth of nationalism in India. The establishment of the railways, roads, and post services helped to connect different parts of the country, and facilitated the growth of national consciousness. Yes, when transport and communication is promoted, it makes communication easy. Even the connection between people is made easy. Because if someone, for example, is staying in PG, or I stay in Masaka, or I stay in Barara, I can easily call someone is even outside the country because of communication. Calling someone makes communication easy. So this even helped the Indians to know what they're supposed to do. It connected them as the Indians. So at the end of the day, the spirit of nationalism developed amongst them. We have economic exploitation of India by the British, including the destruction of indigenous industries. also made Indians to have that feeling of nationalism. So the Indians were heavily taxed by the British, and this created a widespread resentment and fueled the nationalistic movement. Overtaxation hurt the Indians. Overtaxation made some of the Indian industry to be closed. They could not withstand the pressure from the British government. At the end of the day, it made them to get that love for them to be away from the hands of the British. So there are many reasons, there are many factors, there are many reasons for the growth, there are many factors for the growth of Indian nationalism. So you can make more research, though there are many, but there are even, though here we can see 8, but there are many factors that favored the growth of Indian nationalism. I beg to stop here.